Hey there, YouTube. It's Kurt here. Today we're going to take a look at Gren Maju. All right, so Gren Maju has actually been popping up all over the place recently just because it got Gizmek, if that's how you say it. Gizmek is actually really pretty insane for this strategy specifically. So Gizmek can summon itself, banishing 8 cards, and that helps out Gren Maju. And also, if it's already on the field, then you can target an opponent's monster and destroy it. Not too bad. And also, the fact that it can recur itself from the graveyard every single turn, not just your turn, it can be pretty nice. All right, so I have mixed feelings about this deck. Just be prepared for it. Be prepared for this style of strategy. There's two styles of strategy, and I encourage you to play the second turn variant. The second turn variant takes a little bit more brains, a little bit more skill, and also it's more fair. We'll say any deck that's OTK, I feel like, and nowadays Yu-Gi-Oh! Is pretty fair. So I would encourage you to play like that version of it, and it's a lot more fun. But you also need to be prepared for the cancerous Gren Maju version. And I think you're going to see this, especially with these new cards we got coming out that really nerf the first turn, like with Nibiru, of course, Nibiru and the hand trap and the spell. You're going to see a lot of, I think you're going to see a lot more control decks that just play the Solemn package and just do not take any brains whatsoever just to flip up these generic counter traps. And I actually think it's kind of really bad for the game that we have both Solemn Strike and Solemn Judgment at 3 with every floodgate in the game imaginable that you can play that just shuts your opponent out of the game. So, with that being said, Red Reboot just got a reprint. Pick up your Red Reboots immediately. Yes, get them right now. If you don't have them, if you don't have Red Reboots, you are doing it wrong. It can still be Solemn Judge. There can still be Judgment, but yeah, Reboot is going to be necessary just because I think you're going to see traps everywhere. Well, at least not everywhere, but a lot more often than you've seen them even last format, just the generic versions of them. So, with that said, let's get into this deck profile here. So, obviously, Eater of Millions is excellent. I don't know why not everyone plays this in Gren Maju, but if you're not playing it, you should. That's in this deck, Gren Maju himself, and Gizmek, 3 copies. Also, with this control variant, the deck that topped the German, whatever the German term was, he's playing like 18 traps in his deck, so be wary. This deck plays very well around pretty much every generic floodgate. Not Rivalry, it's weak to Rivalry, but you do have There Can Only Be One, works excellent, it doesn't really hurt you very much at all, and also there is Summon Limit, which you don't almost never summon more than 2 times per turn anyway, so these are really good floodgates that you're probably going to see in this style. Now, I actually kind of like Summon Limit. If any floodgate could get hit, I actually kind of agree with some. I agree with Summon Limit kind of sticking around just because I think it's more fair. But there can be only one that's not even having 2 monsters on the field. That's just, I think that's pretty unfair. But either way, you're going to see it in this deck. You're going to see probably the triple Solemn package just because they're so good. If you have Strike and Judgment set on your first turn, chances are your opponent is not going to be able to do anything. So this is why I highly recommend the Reboot package. So again, there's not much really to know about this deck. It's really low brains. Obviously, you're going to depend a lot on your draw spells, your extravagance, and your pot of desires. You're playing 3 and 3 just because you want to see as much draw power as possible, and you want to see as much banishment for cost. These things banish for cost, so either way, those cards are going to be sent face down and really going to give you Gren Maju power. This deck does have very solid weaknesses, though. Obviously, it's really RNG or luck dependent because if you banish all your Gren Maju, you're going not to have a very good time. Eater of Millions is still a very good card, but you still have to draw it. And obviously, this deck can brick extremely heavily. If you draw nothing but Summon Limit or Summon Limit and draw spells, if you draw too many of a lot of these cards, it doesn't build much of a board. It just depends on the opponent not being able to play around as traps, which a lot of people can. People are going to main deck Twin Twisters. So yeah, be prepared for this deck. Now that I've gone over like what this will entail, a lot of people probably won't be playing like the Necrophase, but Necrophase isn't a bad option. But a lot of people probably won't play this. But either way, we'll just get into the best way to counter this. Obviously, if you have Twin Twisters in your main deck, you probably want to have Twin Twisters in your main deck. It's a great format in order to do that. You're going to want the Twin. You're going to want probably Red Reboots in your side deck. It's gaining popularity. It just came out in a structure deck. It's a really good, solid option all around. Now, obviously, this deck is weak to Lancia. If you Lancia this deck, do it on the draw phase. I don't care if your opponent might be playing Gamma. It doesn't matter. Just use that Lancia because you don't want them doing anything for cost. And chances are, if they can't banish, they cannot play a single turn, and you're going to be able to OTK them. So Lancia, I feel like in this format, Lancia might be really good in general, but also it's really solid against this matchup, and I think you're going to see Gren Maju a lot more. All right, so any other side deck cards? Well, it all depends because this deck is so flexible. It's also an OTK variant. Yeah, if you're playing the OTK variant, well, I don't think it's that hard to get around if you get enough monsters on the field. But the thing is, you do have to be wary of doing a combo strategy. This deck is really weak to rivalry, and some decks are weak to rivalry right now, and especially with all the danger package coming out. If you play rivalry in your side deck, I don't think that's actually a bad call this format. So yeah, give that a whirl. Also, anti-spell can hurt this deck a little bit. It's still, if they get lucky enough, they can play around it, but anti-spell can hurt the deck just because it relies on those for draw power so much. But let me know what you guys' suggestions are for this deck. Leave them in the comment section. And honestly, there's some dimension of this deck that's fun. I like the banishments. There's not that many decks that rely purely on banishment as much as this deck does, and getting a big monster on the field is fun. I can't be a hypocrite there, but I hate trap-based control strategies, so I want the community to be as prepared as possible for them. All right, so later this week, I think I'll do a video about I like doing internet streams. Why I want to stream more. I want to know how to stream more on other stuff. On like Twitch. Yeah, I should probably set up a Twitch. But I want to bring you a salt montage because like players get salty online and it's pretty funny. But I'm a hypocrite too because I get really salty as well. But that's all I got for today, guys. Peace out.